putting some flesh on the bones of the chicken. Terrible metaphor, but we are talking grocery now. Spinneys is about to move outside the Gulf for the first time, moving into the Philippines. We are very pleased to be joined by a member of the Spinneys executive team, a man whose own responsibilities are growing, Warwick Gird. Thank you so much for coming in, Warwick.
Good morning, Brandy. Thank you for having me.
So you guys have tied up with a storied business partner in the Philippines, Ayala Corporation, to build your first stores outside the Gulf to move into Southeast Asia. Talk to me first about the timing of this. Why are you doing this now?
Absolutely. So I think firstly, it's important for us to say that the GCC remains our home and our priority market. At the same time, this doesn't mean that we won't look outside of the GCC at other potential growth opportunities. The Philippines presents a very exciting opportunity. It's one of Asia's fastest growing markets. So it's Southeast Asia's fastest growing market. But, we remain disciplined. We will only look at new market opportunities when we have the right partner on the ground, the conditions are right, and there's an opportunity for value creation. And all of those, in terms of timing, exist right now.
Okay, I wanted to ask about the joint venture with Ayala. Are you doing that for local market knowledge? Are you doing that because of regulation and legislation and you have to?
So it's always important for us when we're looking at a new market to have that expertise on the ground. It is not because we have to from a regulatory perspective. We are choosing to. Our focus, as we said, remains in the GCC. The way we've set up the deal and structured the deal will allow us to maintain that focus in the GCC and also utilize the Ayala Group's expertise and local management expertise and capabilities to run and operate the business.
Okay, and I want to talk to you about how that deal is structured and how the responsibilities will change over time. Tell me who's doing what.
So Ayala will take a 60% stake in the JV and we will take the remaining 40%. So as I said, very important that they are able to run, manage and operate the business, having that local on-the-ground expertise, the regulatory environment. They know the market very well and they should be able to run and operate according to those dynamics. At the same time, we will assist right from the beginning and the outset with setting up the retail operations, obviously bringing our expertise of premium fresh grocery retail to the table, setting up supply chains, the store builds, the customer service training for the team on the ground, and really leaning into our knowledge in that area and then handing over back to the JV for the continued running and management.
Which is interesting. So you get them up and running and then the management and the day-to-day responsibilities then goes to the JV. What does that then allow Spinneys to do on its own growth trajectory? How does that allow you to expand but still keep, as you say, your focus and your energies?
So firstly, from a resource perspective, our operational and management resource can still be focused on the GCC, while management and operations in the Philippines will be done by the Ayala Group. Mainly from a resource and focus perspective, we'll be able to keep our eye on the ball here in the GCC and maintaining the growth opportunities that we've announced earlier this year in the Kuwait with the Al Shaya Group, as well as in Saudi, which we opened last year. We've got an extremely exciting pipeline of stores still to come into the next few years in Saudi. So our management and operational focus remains there, and we can lend a helping hand from the beginning to the JV in the Philippines without taking our hands-off operations here in the GCC.
How, though, will you be more than just a name over the door once it gets going?
So I think the Philippines, we already have a presence in the market from a supply chain perspective. The Southeast Asia is an increasingly important market for a premium food that's coming out of the region to the GCC. So that will allow us to have a stronger presence on the ground and capitalize on that physical presence on the ground. We're also at 24% of our staff is made up of Filipino workers. So it will be a hotbed and a training ground for us, and we'll be able to leverage that opportunity from the Philippines and drive some synergies between the two businesses.
We saw a CEPA sign between the UAE and the Philippines in the middle of last year. Is this in any way, this CEPA bearing fruit? Has that agreement made any part of this easier or faster for you?
Yes, so I think the ongoing relationships economically between the UAE and the Philippines have definitely made this easier in terms of setting up high-level discussions and getting the partnership to the table and signing the the opportunities that exist there are obviously being explored by other companies in the UAE, NMDC, as you mentioned earlier on the show, DP World, Mazda in the renewable sector. So I think all of those companies recognizing the growth potential that the Philippines offer, as have we.
Could we see, and I know you've said that you're keeping your focus on the Gulf, but could we see Spinneys going further into Asia, Southeast Asia? Are you in any other talks?
So I think the Philippines is a really important step for us. It is our first venture outside of the GCC, as we mentioned. At the same time, Southeast Asia presents many exciting opportunities that we wouldn't rule out in the future. But very importantly for now, our focus remains on the Philippines and getting the operation up and running and off to a successful start.
But are you in any other talks?
We're not currently in any other talks. We have our eye firmly focused on the Philippine opportunity, but we wouldn't rule out any future opportunities, as I say. The Southeast Asia is a complementary growth opportunity outside of the GCC and one we're really excited about.
Which markets in that makeup would, hypothetically, make the most sense for Spinneys?
So I think there's a few with rapid growth that are seeing good growth, rising demand for premium grocery food and premium retail experiences. Vietnam, Singapore, these kind of markets are very dynamic, exciting opportunities.
Is that the only geographic direction in which you might be looking?
So I think Southeast Asia, because of the growth that we're seeing in the region, is very different to more established markets where maybe premium retail is more penetrated, heavily penetrated. So at the moment, looking at the GCC and Southeast Asia, definitely our priority.
We've got about 1 minute left with you. Before we let you go, you mentioned that Saudi joint venture in the first store that opened up in the middle of last year. How is your Saudi retail performing, and where are we looking in that pipeline at the moment?
So we've opened 2 stores, a big store in the An Nuzha district, Lestrada Yard, and another one in the King Abdullah Financial District, which is a smaller store focused on meal solutions on the go, high density commercial with a bit of residential as well. Both stores have been well received by the customers in Saudi, and we've been really encouraged by the response we've seen from customers. We have 2 more stores in the pipeline for the remainder of this year. And we're looking good to deliver 10 to 12 stores by 2028.
20 seconds. How many stores do you think the partnership in the Philippines could deliver?
So it's really early days. We just inked the deal this week. We have committed to opening our first store in Q4 2026. There are many exciting opportunities for us, but in terms of a pipeline, we'll be talking about that a bit further down the line.
All right, there we go. Speaking to Spinneys about that expansion into Southeast Asia. Warwick Gird from the executive team, General Manager of Marcoms. We appreciate your time this morning.